Hello there, very good Saturday evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct this evening from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscored. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Police media spokesperson says IGP has instructed police to strictly enforce law against people who spread false and extremist information. Phone details surrounding bond issue heats up Parliament again. MPs allege authorities have lost focus on malpractices committed by the former regime.
And starting off the news with our top story, police media spokesperson SP1 Gunasekara says they have been instructed by the Inspector General of Police to take strict action against those who spread false rumours and extremist views. Now, SP Gunasekara expressed these views during a media briefing convened to educate the media about a tense situation which is said to have been taking place in the Gintoti area last night.
Acting upon information that came to light regarding a scuffle that broke out between two groups in the Gintoti area in Galle, the police took measures to bring the situation under control. Meanwhile, Ministers Chandima Veerakodi and Faiza Mustafa visited the area last night to look into the matter. 19 people from both factions involved in this unrest were arrested last night. These 19 suspects were produced before the Galle acting magistrate and they were placed under remand custody until the 30th of November. The measures we are taking against these disruptive and extremist groups are in accordance with the provisions of Act No. 56 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. According to the provisions of this act, they were produced in court and are unable to be granted bail through a magistrate's court. They can only obtain bail from a high court. Even if they are to obtain bail from the high court, the provisions of this act states that they should present extraordinary reasons to court. So they will have to remain in remand custody until they are granted bail. Measures can be taken according to this act against all the extremist groups as well as those who supported these incidents. We were able to control the situation by this afternoon, but there are false rumours being spread regarding this incident. We will use the provisions of this act to take measures against those who spread this false information. The Inspector General of Police instructed the Criminal Investigations Department this morning to investigate those who spread false propaganda on social media and to take measures against them. The Police Special Task Force and Triforces have been dispatched to ensure law and order in this area. However, a decision was taken to impose a curfew in this area just like yesterday from 6 p.m. today to 6 a.m. tomorrow. This curfew will be imposed in the Valipitiya Modara, Mahahapugala, Ukwatta, Gintota East and West, Piyandigama and Kurunduwatta areas.
Now, the debate on the third reading of the budget continued today as well. The allocations made for the Ministry of Defence were debated today. According to this 2010 agreement, the Russian government agreed to extend $300 million loan to provide facilities that will aid in defense. In 2013, the country used up around $142 million of this allocation. Under the government of Mahinda Rajapaksa, they agreed to get several Mi-171 helicopters and other equipment. We have no issues with the Navy being strengthened for national security, but is there a need to buy a ship at such a cost? The vessel was valued at $70 million. 3 years later, how did the same ship come to a cost of $158 million?
Politicians do not decide whether there is a necessity or not. The Navy has to make this decision, and if the Navy says they want it, our responsibility is to get it done. This is not something coming through the private sector. We are saddened that they are using this to sling mud at the government. He said they purchased helicopters for the Air Force under the Mahinda Rajapaksa government. So if it is okay to buy helicopters from them back then, why is it wrong to do the same now? During the Galle Dialogue International Maritime Conference of 2015, there was a discussion on the future plans of the Sri Lanka Navy. After 2009, we wanted to move away from the fast attack crafts and focus on regional security. That is why this plan was proposed. Our exclusive economic zone is 8 times our landmass. If you consider the commercial shipping routes, the area we have access to is around 22 times our landmass. We cannot protect this area using the small boats that we use to fight the LTTE with. We purchased a ship from India at a cost of 77 million. We received one from China. They asked why we wanted more ships. They wanted to know why this money can't be used to help the poor people of the country. This agreement with Russia was based on defense equipment. The two vessels from India are offshore patrol vessels. There are no weapons fixed to these vessels. When they are brought to Sri Lanka, we will mount some weapons onto it, and then these will be used to defend the area that I spoke about earlier. The vessel from China is 12 years old, but we are receiving this as a grant. The Navy made a clear request that they need 2 more vessels. The ship that will be purchased from Russia is a brand new ship equipped with weapons. It is not 10 years old.
3 committee reports have been presented regarding the Gepard frigate 5.1 vessel. The Vathava Committee, the current Navy Commanders Committee and the Chief of Staff's report. We have received information that all of these 3 reports rejected this vessel. If you can present these reports to Parliament, there won't be any confusion.
I thank you. The information you have received is wrong. Please don't repeat those details like parrots on TV programs. Our former Navy commander is right here. I spoke to him regarding this as well because we cannot let false information reach the public. The vessel was not rejected through the 3 reports. There are still discussions taking place to pinpoint the feature we need in this vessel, the weapons and other options. We need to reach a final decision before the 31st of December. I spoke with the current Navy commander as well. He told me that he was there since the beginning of these talks. We have no need to lie. We are trying to do something good for the country. Please don't repeat false information that is handed to you.
This is a deal between 2 governments. We are dealing with the Russian government. I saw in a TV debate someone mentioned that we have already brought the ship. We have not purchased the ship yet. They will begin making the vessel after we reach a decision before the 31st of December and inform the Russian government. It takes 40 months for this ship to be constructed. However, a member of parliament goes before TV and says we have brought a ship.
They said Api Venuing Api or Be Together for All, but it ended up Be Together for Me. The former Defence Secretary said they collected 4,500 million through the project. However, they only built around 250 houses. What happened to the rest of the money? There is a war memorial in Elephant Pass. According to it, the war effort was led by Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa. There have never been any army commanders. I have no idea where Mahinda Rajapaksa learned to fight a war. None of those so-called patriots in that gang gave a drop of blood for one of our soldiers. They didn't send us a bottle of water to the war front. Even they struck secret deals, engaged in shady businesses. They defrauded money and allocated to the Defence Secretary as well. They defrauded $7 million through the MiG deal. In addition, he started billing artillery ammunition priced at $200 at $600. We brought shiploads of ammunition. Imagine the profits they made. They sold the strength of Navy to avant-garde. There were many transactions like this. They created a company named Lanka. Through it, the former Defence Secretary engaged in businesses.
Thieves are using the bond scam and the scams in the Central Expressway to cover up their own crimes. They speak as if they are saints today. That is because of the current government's corrupt activities. We call on investigations into this government's actions as well as investigations into crimes that shook the country in the past. Expedite these investigations. We cannot let the media suppression that took place during the period between 2006 to 2005 be swept under the carpet. 13 journalists including Lasantha Wickramatunge were murdered in this period. Pragit Eknaligoda went missing. The number of journalists who were assaulted stands at 87. 20 journalists were arrested. They attacked Sirasa in January 2009 and on the 22nd of March 2010. They attacked Daily Mirror in May 2010. They attacked Theatre on the 30th of July 2010. The Tajuddin murder investigation should be expedited. Whenever there is some political upheaval, the murder investigation rises to the top, but it eventually dies down. The lands of Daisy Archie should be investigated. We have no idea how much longer she will live. They haven't been able to conclude the investigation on how those lands were obtained.
Now, views on the telephone conversations between Arjun Aloysius and members of parliament were expressed on multiple occasions today. The equipment brought down to tap phone calls during the term of Mahinda Rajapaksa are still there. Information is that he is still tapping calls. If anyone is found guilty, they will be punished. Once we go to court, we bow our head to their verdict. No one is bound to protect anyone because they are from the United National Party.
If members of parliament have spoken to Arjun Aloysius, who is involved in this, it is not just the phone calls of COPE members that should be investigated. A court order should be obtained to investigate the phone calls of 225 members of parliament as well. We are aware that there are several MPs of the joint opposition who has also had relations with Arjun Aloysius, which is why we are saying, without limiting the investigation into the details of particular time period, to investigate all dealings Arjun Aloysius had with members of parliament.
This is the first time such a thing is being exposed. If these matters happen to be in the past as well, this country would be far more developed and ministers, public representatives and officials would be afraid of stealing. Whatever happens, all these revelations will be good for the country.
A sum of around 83 million rupees which was received as tsunami funds to rebuild the lives of those displaced in the tragedy was found in the Helping Hambantota bank account in the Standard Chartered Bank. It is the government responsibility to find out what happened to that money. The investigation wasn't just swept under the carpet. At the time, Mahinda Rajapaksa filed a fundamental rights petition at the Supreme Court stating that attempts are being made to arrest him. The Chief Justice at the time, Sarathen Silva, issued a verdict stating not to arrest him, and he publicly apologized for sending someone who deserves to be sent to prison to the palace. If the Chief Justice himself who issued the verdict is saying this, I believe this investigation should be reopened.
The United National Party convened a media briefing today to comment on Bond Commission revelations.
It was reported in the media of a possibility of tapping the phones of parliamentarians and how data was retrieved. We discussed this matter with the Speaker. We are of the stance that under parliamentary privileges, MP phones should not be tapped. Information has come to us that around 40 members of parliament have spoken with Arjun Aloysius. As MPs, we request the Criminal Investigation Department to make those names public. We need to know the names of the 40 MPs. It is reported around 70 calls were made from temple trees the night Tajuddin was murdered. To whom were these calls made? The CID has not reported it to court. The CID has identified WhatsApp and Viber calls made by the MPs. Why are they working in separate ways? They must produce the report to court which reveals the calls made from temple trees and from what chamber it was made the night Tajuddin was killed.
Well, what was actually produced is call information at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry as evidence. Sufik Farzan brings us a detailed report on Bondgate.
Comments were made claiming the evidence that was produced before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on Thursday in relation to telephone correspondence between certain persons were the result of wiretapping. However, it is basic understanding that wiretapping relates to eavesdropping on a conversation that takes place between two other parties. However, it must be mentioned that when Sub-Inspector Yasanka Jayasinghe produced a forensic report on telecommunication information analysis on the conversations and telephone numbers that were given to him by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, he had used a certain method to analyze the data. At first, he obtained the data that was extracted from the mobile phone of Arjun Aloysius, which Aloysius had used since October 2016. That forensic examination was done by Chief Inspector Senaratne earlier, and that evidence was led before the Presidential Commission, where certain text messages were uncovered with names such as PM, RK and AM. That data was obtained by Sub-Inspector Yasanka Jayasinghe, and thereafter he also looked into the data that was provided to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry following orders given to the telecommunication service providers. So data that is extracted from Arjun Aloysius' mobile phone and data obtained from telecommunication service providers were used to analyze and prepare the forensic report on telecommunication information analysis. Now today we are going to bring you more information about more beehives that surround the Treasury bond issue. Let's take a look first at Kasun Palisena, the Chief Executive Officer of Perpetual Treasuries Limited. Tual Gunasilaka, an employee at the Public Debt Department, Indigo Saman Kumara from the Employees Provident Fund, Amal Iroshan, the brother of Indigo Saman Kumara, and Danuka Lienagamage from the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation. You can see the numbers of calls that were made by Kasun Palisena back and forth with these four individuals during the period from 2015 until 2017. The next is Sangra Pillai Padmanabhan. Let me remind you once again, Padmanabhan is the individual from the central bank who has filed a petition against the officers from the Attorney General's Department who are assisting the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. 703 Viber calls between Padmanabhan and Arjun Aloysius. And the rest of these calls are Nivashan Maxwell Jaksa, the driver of Arjun Aloysius, Surani Nyangoda, the secretary of Arjun Aloysius, Muthuraja Suwendran, a director at Perpetual Treasuries Limited, and Anjali Mahendran, the wife of Arjun Aloysius. Now she is also the daughter of former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran. Next, Indika Saman Kumara, the employee at the Employees Provident Fund, or rather the chief dealer at the EPF. 448 Viber calls between Saman Kumara and Arjun Aloysius. And around him, these calls are between Saman Kumara and people associated with the Perpetual Group, including Muthuraja Suwendran, the director, Sanat Bandara, the financial accountant, and then Nuan Salgado, the chief dealer at Perpetual Treasuries Limited. So this is also another beehive surrounding Saman Kumara. Now let me remind you, when the chief dealer of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Nuan Salgado, turned state witness and provided evidence before the Commission for the second time, he revealed who were being given code names such as Charlie, Wolverine, and Little Johnny. So according to Nuan Salgado's testimony, Charlie refers to the person at the EPF. In this case, it is Saman Kumara. Little Johnny refers to the person in the ETF, and Kavin Karunamurthy at DFCC Bank. And Wolverine, according to Nuan Salgado, refers to the dealer at the National Savings Bank, Navin Anuwada. So more information is about to come out from the Presidential Commission of Inquiry when Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is to appear before the Commission on Monday, the 20th, where we hope many questions will be answered.
Well, thank you very much, Zulfiq. Moreover, revelations made at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry was discussed in Parliament today as well.
අද මාධ්‍යයට ලොකු නිදහසක් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිදහස ලැබීම තුළ
Today there is a great deal of media freedom. Because of this freedom, there is a great deal of information reaching the general public. It has come to light that 41 MPs had phone conversations with Arjun Aloysius. The details of 5 members were released to the media. The details regarding the other 36 were not released to the media. Please tell them to provide the information that they found about these 41 members to all the members of Parliament. Then we can determine the relationship that Arjun Aloysius has with this Parliament. By revealing only a part of this information, there could be some injustice caused to someone.
කොටසක් පමණක් මාධ්‍යවලට නිකුත් කිරීමෙන් කාටෝ අසාධාරණයක් සිදු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
අගමැතිතුමාට යම් වරප්‍රසාද තියෙනවා මේ සභාවේ.
The Prime Minister has privileges in this chamber. That is why he can stand up at any moment and interfere in anything. I remember he did this once when I was making a statement regarding the bond scam. Now he has to appear before the Commission.
උත්තර දෙන්න යන්න ජනාධිපති කොමිසම.
ගරු අගමැතිතුමා මේ කමිෂන් එකට යන්නේ
නෑ නෑ මම ඇහුවේ නෑ.
තුමා මුළු රටටම ආදර්ශයක්. තුමා කැමැත්තෙන් යන්නේ.
ආදර්ශමත් බව මම පෙන්නුවා.
ආදර්ශයක් රටටම.
මම පෙන්නුවා ආදර්ශමත් භාවය.
අදවල් මංකොල්ල ගෑම ආදර්ශාවේ.
අගමැතිතුමාගේ ආදර්ශමත් භාවය මම දැන් පෙන්නුවා.
ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමනි ඉතා ඕනෑකමින් ඉල්ලනවා පොළොන්නරුවේ.
Honorable President, as a leader who grew in a rural area in Polonnarua, why are you getting agitated when I speak of your president?
ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට එහෙම කියනකොට මොකද්ද ඔයගොල්ලෝ තියෙන අමාරුව?
ඉදාමකද?
මහත්යෝ කුරුඳුවත්තේ ලන්සි පැපල් වලට වඩා පොළොන්නරුවේ බණ්ඩක් හොඳයි. දැන් ජනාධිපතිතුමාට තේරෙනවනේ.
The President can clearly see who gets agitated when we try to ask something. As a person who was born in Polonnarua, we call on you not to allow a divisive constitution to become the law of the land. These are cinnamon garden thieves who wear suits. The same people who came to catch thieves have their feet in the mouth because of the bond scam.
වල්ලුනෝ කියාගෙන ආවා අයියලා ටික දැන් ඉන්නවා බැඳුම් කරෙන් කකුල කටේ දාගෙන. නැට්ටේ ඉඳන් ගොම. දුරගත නැමතුන් අලෝසියස් එක්ක.
The phone calls with Aloysius have been revealed. Sujiva even wrote a book about the bonds. We thank the President for appointing such a commission. However, if someone else did this, they would be sent before court and locked up. It was revealed that Aloysius gave money to Ravi Karunanaike for an apartment. Then imagine what he might have given to the people who made 258 calls to him.
Welcome back to the news. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa celebrates his 72nd birthday today.
Born in Veerakete on the 18th of November 1945, Mahinda Rajapaksa received his primary education at Richmond College, Galle, and received his tertiary education from Nalanda College and Thurston College, Colombo. He was first elected to Parliament in 1970, representing the Beliath electorate, and became the youngest member of Parliament. Mahinda Rajapaksa, who held several ministerial positions since 1994, later went on to become the opposition leader. Afterwards, Mahinda Rajapaksa was elected as Sri Lanka's 6th president in 2005. Ending the country's 30-year-long civil conflict being his primary objective, Mahinda Rajapaksa made that objective a reality in 2009. After serving as the country's executive president for 2 terms, he was voted out of office in 2015. Mahinda Rajapaksa to date continues to be involved in active politics as a member of parliament representing the Kurunegala district. To mark his 72nd birthday, an almsgiving ceremony was held at the Narayanpeta Abhayarama today. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, we wish you a happy birthday.
A program to provide housing loans in the Akbopura area in Lunugambehera under the Samta 7 program got underway today under the auspices of United National Party Deputy Leader Minister Sajid Premadasa.
Concessionary loans worth 123.8 million rupees were granted to 420 families in the Lunugambehera Divisional Secretariat.
It is the request of a majority of this country to live as a nation that has reconciliation among all ethnicities. That is the only path this country has. As a country of the developed world, we need to give prominence to humanity and make sure that we live with the human qualities. We must all strive to ensure that peace and harmony prevails in this country where all of us live.
You're tuned on to Primetime News. Now, an event celebrating India at 70 titled Utsav, Glimpses of India, was held last evening at the Vyar Mahadevi Open Air Theatre.
The event saw the participation of Minister of Social Empowerment, Welfare and Canadian Heritage SP Dissanayake, US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Atul Keshap and many other diplomats.
Utsav is part of our ongoing celebrations to mark the 70 years of Indian independence. Sri Lanka will also be celebrating 70 years of its independence soon. As all of you know, Utsav in Hindi, Sinhala and Tamil means festival. Our festivities are an integral part of our shared cultural heritage. I am delighted to see all of us together to share our joys and celebrate.
Today, in keeping with the series of events lined up until the 19th, a yoga session was held by a number of professionals in the field.
The graduation ceremony for the year 2017 of the Columbus School of Construction Technology was held at the BMICH last evening. Engineer Ranjit Gunathilaka was the chief guest at last evening's graduation ceremony. Now, a number of students were awarded BSc Honours in Construction Management and higher national diplomas. Well, with that, we wrap this edition of Primetime News. Thank you for stopping by. Have yourself a great evening ahead.